926,100 jobs, mainly from the informal sector, as the number of salaried jobs failed to recover to pre-COVID-19 levels. Now, let's take a snapshot of what those numbers mean from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Data shows the number of Kenyans in employment rose to 18.33 million in 2021 from 17.41 million in the preceding year. The rise means that the economy, which in 2020 shed 736,000 jobs on the back of COVID-19 disruptions, has recovered these jobs and created an additional 190 jobs, 100, during the period under review. The informal sector created 753.8 thousand jobs, accounting for 81.4% of the total jobs created outside of small-scale agriculture and pastoralists' activities. All right, so Brian George was in downtown Nairobi, a place called Grogan, where artisans operate. Now, the area is well known for car repairs here at the city, with more than 1,000 mechanics. Let's just take a look of what exactly they were saying in relation to the Jua Kali sector.
That's right. I've just been looking for my tools of work right here at Kirinyaga Road, where everything scrap metal, repairs of vehicles, and of course welding happens. Just been handed my 2 spanners right here, and I'm going to be using them to work. But first off, before we get to work, I just want to talk about all these issues concerning the people who are doing welding and of course car repairs and all these metal works right here. Now, this one being an election year, all the election promises and manifesto has been around economic revolution, and some of the people who are being focused on largely are the small-scale traders and of course those in the Jua Kali sector. Last week, for example, we saw the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga come out and talk about his Jua Kali manifesto. And he said that this sector alone employs 16.4 million people. It's a sector that still remains largely informal. And so he wants to formalize the sector by ensuring that all of them get certificates and, of course, are able to access more professional jobs and, of course, more decent pay and better their lives. But I just want to speak to one of the owners right here at this garage who is giving me a job right now. Want to get to speak to him, tusikie maoni yake kuhusiana na maswala haya. Thank you so much for finding time for us on KTN. Naomba jitambulishe alafu tuambie unafanya kazi gani huko.
My name is Martin Keria. I own a shop.
Okay.
And most of the times we deal with these mechanics.
Okay.
And the brokers as well. They're so much important to our business.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you need customers. The only person who can bring those customers is the brokers or the mechanics while fixing these cars. So for us, we will urge the government to really consider our sector because there are so many challenges when it comes to these young boys here. Because at the end of the day, they need to get something to take home. They have families as well to better their lives. So there are so many challenges.
I want us to talk about your employment dynamics and the people who you give employment here. Of course, me being an example. Just want to understand, what type of skills do you look for when you're looking for a person to work in your shop? What are some of the skills that are on demand in this current market?
Okay, you might get an advantage of getting somebody who is experienced. But at the same time, even if you get someone who is not experienced, you'll still nurture that young guy and at the same time try to experience the young guy so that at the end of the day he can be of great help even to our own sector.
So what's your experience been like with them? Are they performing or some of them wanalegea kidogo?
We have good young guys here.
They have good talent.
They have talent. And they're people who, if given support, they can do extremely well.
Talking of support, when you heard the former Prime Minister say that they're going to give them certificates, what was your first reaction?
One, you are grateful because he knew there was a sector that needed to be acted on. And now you're actually looking forward for them actualizing what they're talking about. Because you can be told something will be done, but at the end of the day, nothing is done. So you're yet to see if they'll fulfill their promises. The other thing, it's about the government should come up with somewhere where we can be able to to purchase, if it's land, for example, so that these mechanics, they can have a place they can be working for. You know, during Moi era, there was a time they actually considered the mechanics. Even at this time, when Raila is coming in, or whoever is coming in, we would really want them to consider the mechanics. If it's like the plots that we have across here, they can have like purchase one of them, so that at the end of the day, these mechanics can have somewhere they can rely on. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I want to speak to one of your boys who you work with here. I don't know who is ready. And yuko tayari. Tuongee na yeye hapa. Kuja, karibia. Just come we talk. Habari ya leo? Okay, hebu jitambulishe tuambie unafanya kazi gani?
Kwa majina naitwa Mwangi. Nafanya kazi ya miguu.
Okay. Kazi ya
gari miguu.
Kuweka gari miguu. Sasa umefanya kazi hii kwa muda gani?
Nimefanya hii kazi kwa muda ya 2 years.
2 years. Okay, great. Tuambie tu experience yako imekuaje na hii kazi?
Hii kazi tuseme si mbaya kwa mavijana kwanza. Kazi ya mechanic ni mzuri sana kwa vijana.
Sasa ningependa tu kujua umeenda maybe shule, umeenda chuo kikuu labda ukahitimu ndo ukakuja kufanya hii kazi, ama ulianzia tu wakati fulani ukafanya na ukafikia wakati ambao upo sasa hivi?
Hii kazi kitu ya kwanza nilimaliza shule ya msingi, tena nikaingia secondary, nikamaliza alafu nikaingia hii kazi. Sikuenda shule yote ati college kufanyia hii kazi. Nilikuja tu kujua Kali nikajua tu.
Na sasa unaona inakulipa vizuri?
Iko sawa kabisa.
Swali. Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga ambaye anagombea kiti cha urais katika chama cha Azimio alikuwa amesema kwamba ataweza kuwapatia shahada zenyu na nyinyi muweze pia kuhitimu. Unaonaje swala hilo, wewe kama mhunzi na wewe kama fundi wa hapa, unahisi vipi kuhusu manifesto hiyo?
Hiyo swala ni mzuri, akaamua ana support vijana, sio mbaya. Tunaweza taka kusapotiwa tuinuke, si ndio?
Sawa, shukran sana, tunashukuru sana. We just want to get one more person. Ningependa ujitambulishe na useme unafanya kazi gani?
Kwa majina naitwa Boniface Moneki na nafanya kazi huku ni kama mechanic.
Ulianza hii kazi lini?
2019.
Okay, una umri wa miaka gani?
Tuna umri wa miaka 19.
You're 19 years old? Nice. Sasa hebu tueleze experience yako kwa kufanya hii kazi imekuaje? Kwanza ulimaliza shule?
Hii tuseme tu kweli nimefika form 3. Kufika form 3 sasa ndio nikakuja huku. Sasa vile niliingia huku hawa vile walikuwa tunafanya nao kazi. Ni wase wazuri hivyo. Huku tu ni kungangana hivi mbele nyuma.
So unalipwa per day ama unangoja mwisho wa mwezi? Hiyo unaweza sema polepole boss asisikie.
Hiyo ni per day hiyo.
Income yako ni per day?
Hiyo ni per day.
Okay, sasa so wewe unajipanga aje? Wewe una save aje? Unaweka pesa yako aje? Nini na nini ndio uweze kuweka familia vizuri?
Kusema tu kweli kitu umepata unaweka kama ni kitu ndogo hivyo, kama ni pesa 5 umepata unaweka 200 na hizo zingine unakula hivyo polepole.
So what is your biggest income? Ile umaingiza kwa siku ukasikia leo nimepiga Kismart. Ulifanya biashara pesa ngapi hiyo siku ndo ukasikia nikao umepata pesa mzuri?
Hiyo Kismart ni kusema kutoka bob 5.
Bob 5 ni
5000.
5000. Hiyo ulikuwa umefanya nini hiyo day?
Hiyo siku kung'ang'ana TV nyuma chini.
Ulilala chini ya gari ukafanya mambo yako?
Kufanya tu mambo yangu, shughuli hiyo ndogo kama kufungua engine.
Okay. Sasa ndo nauliza, ndo maybe uwai do mingi. So unacheki umeshawai tao yako 5 kwa siku. So uko na potential ya kwenda haya. Boss wako anakutakia mema, si ndio? Exactly. So swali ni, unafikiria serikali inafaa ifanye nini ndio kusaidia ufike hapo mahali unafaa ufike?
Sema tu kweli. Hii biashara ya mechanic yana anafaa atuboost sana huko. Atuboost sana.
Boost kwa njia gani?
Kama tu tengeze tu hivi kama hivi tusafishie. Tunalala hivyo chini hata at least tusikuwa wet sana hivyo.
Working conditions, eh? All right, and that's it from the people here who are doing the welding and all these things to do with scrap metal dealing. We've just heard from them, and they are really, looking forward to all of these things being enacted, either of the presidential candidates, either whether it's a presidential aspirant Raila Amolo Odinga or William Ruto or Jimmy Wanjigi or whoever it is that will ascend to power, they're really looking forward to seeing all of these things being enacted. So back to you in studio as I also get back to work.
Just to be clear, Brian George didn't actually do any work. He didn't make the cut. I mean, he's so used to TikTok. They need to reevaluate his application. But thank you so much, Brian, for that report. Quite in-depth, and remarks from the artisans need, of course, to be looked into. Other stories making headlines include